Salam, my name is Nariman Moustafa, and I come from Egypt. I think there are so many lessons to learn working in India. It is navigating a hard context. The communication is not very easy, so how can I work in education and providing access to education to children in rural India as part of the Hippocampus company, Hippocampus Learning Centers. And so, of course, working in rural India and having to see people on the field where communication is not easy and where English is not part of the languages that they know, it is something to navigate, and it has been a great learning lesson how to really get through verbal communication and see what's beyond verbal communication in people. That is one thing. Of course, in the context of education, there are things that I learned about how to run a learning center, what are the resources that go into something like this. A company like Hippocampus is a very successful model in really offering a social solution in a way that is impactful and that is system changing, but that also accounts for the business side of things and the scalability. And so it is also how can you balance this equation, and it's a daily struggle of how can you balance this equation of the business side and the social aspect. But Hippocampus has been doing really well in this, so it is the question of this balance is one of the things that I learned. I think also I've learned a lot about internal office environments and different ways of communication. I think, I've worked with a lot of people in the social sector before in Egypt, but just for my luck, I'm working with a supervisor who has a very different style of work and of communications than everyone I've worked with before, and we've had to go through a lot to be able to kind of align our communications together in our work style. And I'm grateful that I had this kind of rough bend, but also learning opportunity. I think the social enterprise sector in India is definitely more robust. There are definitely a lot of innovations here that are ahead of Egypt. And there's also a similar, in terms of similarities, there is a similar youth bulge, a similar motivation, a similar enthusiasm. I was just saying that I think that the youth who belong to the social enterprise sector are just creating a different language that transcends barriers and borders. We can relate to each other in different ways. So definitely the innovations here are ahead, but also on the other side, the environment here is more hierarchical than I've seen in Egypt. It's also related to the society and the culture, and it's a bit of a patriarchal society, and this has also been manifested in the workplace. I think communications has been a challenge, of course. I live in Bangalore, I live and work in Bangalore, so in Bangalore we can get really easily by with English, and the people who work with me in the office all know English very well. But it's when we go to the field, it is when we talk to the people that we work with, of course communication is a challenge. Probably the enterprises that we work with will not send a foreigner alone to the field, not because of anything except that I wouldn't be able to communicate with the people without translation. I definitely knew that India is a rich culture. I definitely knew that it was diverse, but the reality is nothing as I imagined. It is much more diverse than I imagined. It is a lot richer. It is so confusing. We all have the stereotype of, we're gonna go find ourselves in India, and India is very well known for its culture, but also its spirituality and how people can be calm and meditate and so on. It's not. It's not. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for this, but there's also a lot of opportunities for people to get impatient and angry. But the thing is, I mean, it is a lot richer than what I imagined. It is a lot more diverse. You only get more questions. You don't get answers here. The people are very nice.